Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. The updated and expanded second edition of my book, The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments, is now available. Readers can expect to march with Arnie's Army at the 1960 U.S. Open, relive Jack Nicklaus's remarkable 1986 Masters win, and be amazed by the Tiger Slam. The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments. Pick it up where fine books are sold, including BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
This Day in Sports History. Hey there, and welcome back to This Day in Sports History. It's June 3rd, and on this day in 1992, Michael Jordan shrugged because he couldn't even believe what was happening. It was Game 1 of the NBA Finals between Jordan's Chicago Bulls and the Portland Trail Blazers, led by their man Clyde the Glide Drexler. The day before, people had been talking to MJ about Drexler, comparing the two. In a lot of statistical categories, they were fairly equal, except one: three-pointers. Drexler liked to shoot them. Jordan wasn't really known as a three-point shooter. The difference was not dramatic. On average, Drexler shot about 4 or 5 a game and hit 2 or 3. Jordan took about 1 a game, and he made less than a third of those attempts. But what Jordan seemed to hear was, Clyde Drexler is a better three-point shooter than you. What are you going to do about it? Well, Jordan did what he always did. He came out to prove to everybody that, if he wanted to, he could shoot the three.
Jordan again from three-point land. Most unusual to see Michael bombing away. That's his third three-point attempt. Pippen setting up Jordan wide open for another three. Rebounded by Grant. Jordan for three. Yes!
That was MJ's 5th three-pointer of the half, coming with 2:13 to play. That set an NBA Finals record for threes in a half and put him in range to best Elgin Baylor's NBA Finals record for points in a half. That record would fall with 1 minute 24 seconds remaining in the half when Jordan was inexplicably left open again for this shot.
Here's Jordan for three. Yes! Did you see that look? Michael indicating he can't believe it.
That gave him 35 points in the first half for the new NBA Finals record. And as he ran back up the court, he turned to Marv Albert and Magic Johnson sitting courtside, calling the game, and he shrugged, explaining in a non-verbal way that even he didn't know what was happening.
After a while, I just looked at Marv and Magic and those guys. What can I say? I mean, it's not me. It's just a moment.
So, for comparison, Michael hit 6 of 10 threes in the game and finished with a game-high 39. Drexler was 0 for 2 from 3, and he ended the night with 16. Clyde must have been wondering after this game, I didn't even say anything to the man, and yet I still got put on blast? The Bulls won Game 1 in a blowout, 122-89, and they would go on to win the NBA title in 6 games for their second in a row. On this day in 1967, it was a monster shot by Harmon Killebrew that has lived in Minnesota Twins lore for more than 50 years. It was the California Angels taking on the Twins in Minneapolis that day. 40-year-old Lou Burdett was on in relief for the Angels when Killebrew strode to the plate in the 4th with 2 men on. Now, Harmon was a long ball hitter. He'd led the league in home runs 4 times already, and he would go on to lead the American League in dingers this season and again in 1969. Killebrew's nickname was Killer, and he crushed a Burdett pitch, sending it high and long to left into the empty upper deck of Metropolitan Stadium. The ball was hit so hard that when it hit one of the seats, it broke part of it off. It was later measured to be 522 feet. It was the first known ball to be hit in the upper deck at Metropolitan and was the longest ever hit at the Met. The Twins would hang on to win the game 8-6. The broken seat became a tourist attraction. The Twins' ticket office refused to sell a ticket for the seat for the next 15 years. Souvenir seekers would carve off a little piece every now and again. A plaque was put in to commemorate this day, and that got stolen. After the Twins and Vikings moved out of the Met in 1982, the stadium drifted into disrepair. It was eventually torn down, and in its place was built the Mall of America. Today, there's a replica red chair bolted to a wall near the log ride in the amusement park portion of the mall to show the approximate location of the chair that Killebrew hit on this day, with a replica plaque shaped like home plate in the floor 522 feet away. 2023 was a banner year for Major League Soccer here in the U.S., with the signing of Lionel Messi by Inter Miami. It was a huge day in the history of the league that actually has a rival from the 1970s. On this day in 1975, the New York Cosmos signed Pele to play in the North American Soccer League. Some similarities here between Pele and Messi. Pele was 34 when he signed, Messi was 35. Both were, or in Messi's case still is, the most well-known athlete on the planet. Pele signed a 3-year, $7 million contract to play in New York, and he came out of retirement to do it. The previous October, Pele had hung up the cleats after scoring 1,216 goals in 1,253 games, and he'd led Brazil to 3 World Cup titles. Pele's signing was huge for the NASL, and eventually opened the door for other well-known soccer players to come play in the U.S. Pele made his debut in the league 12 days later, scoring a goal in a 2-2 draw with Dallas. In a league where the average attendance prior to him coming was around 12,000 a game, Pele drew fans to the matches. In a regular season game in 1977 against Tampa Bay, an NASL record crowd of 62,394 fans piled into Giants Stadium to watch Pele score a hat-trick in a 3-0 win. He drew nearly 78,000 for a playoff match, and he would eventually play 85 games for the Cosmos and lead the team to the league title in 1977. On this day in 2013, former NFL defensive lineman Deacon Jones passed away at the age of 74. Jones played 14 seasons in the NFL, most of those as part of the fearsome foursome of the Los Angeles Rams. Jones was a game-changing defensive end who used his speed and a head slap like Da Vinci used a brush. And if you have ever watched any football game at any level, then you are most certainly aware of a Deacon Jones creation: the sack. Well, not the act of tackling the quarterback in the backfield per se, but he coined the term sack. He explained that getting to the quarterback and dropping him for a loss was as devastating as when an army would invade a city and sack it. So next time you talk about a quarterback getting sacked, say a little thank you to Deacon Jones. And Tiger Woods has always had that flair for the dramatic. Well, on this day in 2012, Tiger won his 73rd PGA Tour event, tying him with Jack Nicklaus for second on the all-time wins list. The tournament he won? Jack's own Memorial Tournament at Muirfield. And of course, the win couldn't be run-of-the-mill. Woods birdied 3 of the last 4 holes, including a chip-in for bird on 16 that he called one of the toughest shots he ever made. Nicklaus was in awe of that shot, saying that Tiger put it exactly in the right spot, in fact, the only spot that he could. Leave it short, and it's another difficult shot. Send it long, and he loses the tournament. Going in the hole was a bonus. His final round 67 lifted Tiger to a 2-shot win. At this point, Tiger was 10 years younger than when Nicklaus won his 73rd. Currently, Tiger is tied for first on the all-time wins list with Sam Snead with 82. And time now for today's non-sports Did You Know? It's estimated that more than $60 billion in sunken treasure remains in the world's oceans. That's all for today. I'll be back tomorrow with more This Day in Sports History. This has been an original Thrive Suite production.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, a.k.a. the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear. starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.